Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for this episode, I really want to do a short and sweet explanation about GL journal approval process. So one of the most commonly asked feature from the client is I want to have a GL approval process for different type of transactions. It may be GL adjustment, it may be a certain level of expenses that I need different level of approvals. So commonly, we tend to suggest to use GL workflow approval process, which requires a workflow design. But in this episode, I want to show you another lighter version called approval group option, which might be a better fit if your customer requires only a light approval. So without further ado, let's get into the topic. So first of all, I want to show you where we can define what type of approval process on GL. So straightforward, it's going to be under GL module, and then we're going to have that journal name option. So I'm going to open up this journal names. And let me filter on general journal for now. So what we can see here, I have two journals created just for your easy understanding. One is called general journal. The other one is the general journal with workflow. So the difference is the first one, general journal, you see under approval section, I have this enabled with approval group attached to this. And the second one, general journal workflow, you see the approval is disabled. Instead, we have this approval workflow enabled and together with the workflow design associated to this journal type. So now you may ask the question, what is the difference between this approval group and this approval workflow? So real quick, number one, the workflow option you see here will require more complex workflow design. So as a consequence, it can support also more advanced criteria. For example, if I need to have different approval threshold above 5,000K, that should go to another person, or if that financial dimension cost center is tied to marketing, then this entry should go to the marketing head for review and approval. So with those conditions, you will have to create a workflow design using that designer and then tie that workflow into this journal name. And the other advantage of workflow is it provides the audit trail. So through the workflow history, you're going to see step by step where this approval is currently at. For example, you can see it's submitted by someone at a specific time, and then it goes to another group. What is the condition? What condition is triggered? Then where this workflow is routed again as a next step. So those can be traced through workflow history. And then finally, this workflow option also gives you the automation possibility. That means the journal can be automatically posted once the workflow gets approved. So we can actually build this auto posting as part of the workflow design. So we can cover this in future episodes if you want to see the details. But for now, I just want to quickly explain what are the main benefits of using workflow. Now, what are the benefits of using this approval? So first of all, it can help you achieve the approval process in case you have a small entity. You just have one or two or three people in the accounting department, and normally just one person or multiple accountants prepare the journal and then route it always to the same accounting manager for review. So if that's the case, you don't need to have the whole complex design for the workflow designer, right? You just use this one simple level of approval through this approval group. Secondly, this approve section, you can see here GL approval, this is actually your user group. So you don't need to define a specific user. You can put all the relevant users within this group and say, if one team member from this user group approves the journal, then this journal can be moved forward. And just note that this can also be achieved from the workflow designer using this user group concept. And the other obvious benefit is you don't need to do the whole workflow design, and this best suits the single level of approval without complex conditions. Now, with that benefits and comparison clarified, I want to do a quick demo to show you what that looks like on journal. So first step, on the journal name, you need to decide whether you want to use the approval or the workflow option. And then once you define that, you see this approval user group. Let me click on that. This brings you to the user group configuration. So you can create as many user groups as needed. In my scenario, I'm using this GL approval as my user group. So under user section, you will be able to see who are the users selected under this group. So in this scenario, it's going to be your accounting manager who approves GL journal entry. And you can add, remove users, etc. from this remaining list. Okay, now with the setup covered, let's go ahead and create a general journal. Straightforward. Now let me click on New to create a new journal. And then I'm going to select my general journal for the user approval group function instead of the workflow. And now from here, same thing, you're going to go to lines and enter all the necessary information. So let me give expense account. We can do a quick reclass. So going to scroll to the right and then pick the offset account. Okay, so for offset account, I'm going to pick purchase expense as an example, and let's do a reclass. So I'll give debit and credit amount. Now I can save my journal. All right, let's say I'm the accountant preparing this journal. Once I'm done, I can submit for approval. So instead of submit a workflow approval process, you can directly click here, approval, and report this journal as ready. So once I do that, you're going to see my journal header gets updated. So let me go back to the header level. And this is my journal, right? If I scroll to the right, you can see clearly here, reported as ready by contains my user information. By the way, this approver group does not give you the possibility of receiving notification by email. So if that's the case, what you can do to clarify the status of the journal is to use this personalized view. So I have added multiple columns, as you can see, reported as ready, used by someone, and rejected by someone in case the journal gets rejected, right? And I can also scroll here to see approved by in case this journal gets approved by the manager. So this means even though we don't have notification as the accounting manager, I can still come here in this non-posted list and filter on the status reported as ready by. So if there's a user ID show up here, meaning that this journal is ready for my review. And then the manager can come here to approve or reject. So currently I'm not part of the approval group, so that's why I don't have this possibility. The options are grayed out, but you're going to see if you are part of the approval group and you select approve or reject, it's going to update this column approved by or rejected by automatically by the system. And in case this journal gets rejected, you will see the report as ready becomes enabled again. So that means my accountant can come back into this journal and make any edits needed and continue the second round of approval process. So this is very straightforward. And comparing to the workflow option, if I scroll to the left, the last journal I created, this one, is for my general journal with workflow. And what I referred to previously with the audit trial is you can really check the workflow details and historical information. So that's the three dots. And also workflow and view history. And from here, you can definitely see the different stage of this workflow from the submission, creation of condition, and till the end when the work item gets approved. So this provides a little bit more traceability depending on the complex conditions. All right, as I said, this is a straightforward explanation. Just want to show you the other possibility that you can design or suggest based on the approval requirements at the GL level. So I hope this is helpful. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe to continue to support me on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.